Hello everyone, my name is Amahle Machila, and today's video will be discussing media ethics by looking at the Ukraine and Russian war that has been happening for almost a year right now. The Ukraine and Russian war started to gain media's attention from last year, 22 February. So we're going to be discussing the context of that war and also discuss the context of the case study that I have been using to evaluate the ethical situation on the reportage on violence of the Ukraine and Russian war, and if whether the case study showed to be ethical or unethical. Firstly, let me define to you what are media ethics. Media ethics are a set of code of conduct or codes and principles that are there to guide media practitioners on their duties. For the sake of this video, we're going to be looking at the profession of journalism. Journalists usually, when reporting on news or information, they have values that they need to consider or the principles that they need to consider, which one of those values are to seek the truth and report it. This statement usually means that journalists have a responsibility into the society to always report on facts and not be biased. Media practitioners need to practice these ethicals so that they can preserve and promote their own credibility and maintain the faith and confidence of the society. We as journalists, it can be said that we are being guided by these ethics in order for us to tell the truth. Media ethics are very important when it comes to reporting. One of the things that make a media ethics to be so important is because of the media. It has a very important or vital role into shaping the society's opinion, etc. If reportage on news is unethical, then that means there are high chances that war can be exacerbated and also violence can be triggered by unethical reportage. The Ukraine and Russian war has been ongoing for years now, and it can all be dated from 2014 when Russia sent some of its troops to invade Crimea, which is a region of Ukraine with mostly Russian-speaking people. Because of the fact that there are a lot of Russian-speaking people, Putin found it a good reason for him to invade those parts of Ukraine because of he thought they are going to be losing their culture of being part of Russia. According to Putin, Ukraine will never be an independent country, but will always be part of Russia because of its history with the Soviet Union. For the fact that Ukraine gained its independence in 1991, Putin did not think it's a valid reason for Ukraine to be called a country. In 2014, when he invaded some parts of the Ukraine, specifically Crimea, there were protests that resulted into protests that happened in the capital city of Ukraine, Kyiv, which triggered a lot of violence that was happening throughout the capital city. As the result of the protests that were happening in Ukraine's capital city, President Viktor called for an early elections that he actually lost, and he then decided to go on exile in Russia. In 2019, President Zelensky won the elections and went against Putin's plans with Ukraine, which was to join NATO and also to be part of the European Union. But the membership of Ukraine to join these organizations have not been considered yet until now. Ukraine has always been considered to be part of Russia according to Putin, and the NATO and the European Union are usually enemies of Russia and always have been the enemies of Russia. Zelensky, joining these organizations was to protect the Ukraine's sovereignty and the security, and also to decrease the influence of Russia and the threats that Russia kept on making on Ukraine. One of NATO's mandate is to protect its members from internal attacks, meaning that if Ukraine had to join NATO, Russia cannot attack Ukraine in any level, which is why Putin decided to make a full invasion of troops through using the Belarus border and the Ukraine border. And also he made use of the Crimea bridge between the region of Crimea and Russia, where most of his troops entered Ukraine to make the war more complicated for the Ukraine soldiers. The case study that I've chosen it's a YouTube documentary that is found on 7 News channel. The title of the documentary video is called Russia and Ukraine 1 Year of War. This documentary is very insightful for a person who wants to understand the war between Ukraine and Russia. And it also states that, and also there's a statement on the documentary that when the documentary starts, it usually there's a statement that says Putin promised to invade, to make a full invasion, and also to make it to the capital city of Ukraine in 3 days. But now it's been a year. That statement can actually exacerbate conflict and trigger more violence into the war. This case study actually focuses on the negative part and the positive part, which the negative part includes the Russian troops and the positive part include the Ukraine troops. I could say that the reportage on violence on the Ukraine-Russian war on this documentary is unethical because it does not promote any peace journalism. There are no processes that are being mentioned that involve creating peace or ceasefire. The only ceasefire that has been mentioned in the documentary, it was during Christmas last year, when President Putin suggested a ceasefire for 14 hours, which President Zelensky doubted. But then the documentary keeps on adding that the ceasefire agreement, it was then broken by Russian troops because they started firing again to Ukraine troops. So this documentary actually focuses on the negative side, which it can actually make people who consuming this information or this news to believe that it is impossible for peace to happen at this moment, meaning that they will start to shape, meaning that this documentary is going to shape their opinions to be negative about the war, and it can also trigger more violence into the war because of the way the war is being reported on. As I conclude this video, according to my own opinion, I believe that politicians should stop actually creating war that is going to only benefit them, because this war is not going to benefit the citizens, is not going to benefit the people of Russia or Ukraine, but it only affects their life. As we all know, there are figures that shows that there have been thousands and thousands of people that have died in Ukraine. Both soldiers and civilians have died as a result of this war. And the future of Ukraine so far, it doesn't look bright at all, And I think that Putin should just withdraw from the war, and President Zelensky also to avoid the NATO membership and not be part of NATO, because of what makes Putin more furious and to be more aggressive, according to me, is that once Ukraine becomes part of NATO, Ukraine becomes part of NATO, is that most of the NATO military base are going to be based in Ukraine, which are going to have a serious threat on Russia's security. Thank you so much for tuning in into my YouTube channel, and thank you for watching this video. Please, you may also do me a favor. Just press the like button there down there, just to show me that you appreciate my content, you love my video, and you also have learned something about my video. Thank you.